Hi guys, here to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So they're back with a Varus supplementary guide, and now I didn't really think we needed an updated complete guide for Varus because everything I said in that video is still relevant. But now with patch 2. Now we're in patch 2.6a, and with patch 2.6 it brought about the Edge of Night. So Edge of Night obviously can be incorporated into Varus's build, as you guys can see here, but for the rest of the good stuff, like going through the spells, the runes, a full in-depth discussion on the 3 builds you can go, being lethality, AP, and attack speed, I'll be linking the Varus complete guide in the description as well as in the cards above, so you guys can check it out over there. Now here I'm just going to briefly discuss my build for Varus, lethality Varus for in specific. So first up, as you can see, I go for Mana Mune. Now Varus was a topic in the Horizon Cup, and a lot of Varus there went for like Serrated Dirk as their first item, and like they went for like Mana Mune as their second item sometimes. Like sometimes they bought the tier and then went into Youmuu's, and then they bought the Mana Mune later on. But personally, I like to build the Mana Mune just straight up as my first item before Serrated Dirk, before Youmuu's Ghostblade. And now there are pros and cons to both ways. Now firstly, I feel that Varus takes very long to charge up the Mana Mune, like because he doesn't spam as much spells as someone like an Ezreal, for example. So he takes very long to charge up his Mana Mune to evolve it into the Mirror Mana, even if you spam it as you're walking to lane, which you should be doing anyways. So I like to go for Mana Mune first so I can hit my Mirror Mana power spike earlier. Now what this means is that you'll have a slightly weaker early game where you have very low or really no combat statistics, because really you're going for, like I say, a Fire Crystal start and going for a tier first, which doesn't actually give you any AD or attack speed or anything like that. It just gives you mana, which is helpful to stay in the lane, but logically speaking, it's not giving you any combat stats. So regardless, I like to go for the Mana Mune first so that I can evolve it to the Mirror Mana, and when that happens, my piercing arrows, my Qs are going to be hurting a lot. So now for the second item, I start going to the lethality, which is of course the Youmuu's Ghostblade. Now, reason why I go for Ghostblade here is because I feel the movement speed is really useful for Varus to rotate around the map, to get back to lane faster, etc. Just really good utility passive for Varus. For the boots and the boot enchant, you can go for the Ionian boots for, of course, more ability haste and lower cooldowns, but if you need defensive boots, just go for it as well. Normally you'll take stasis because normally there's going to be some kind of backline diver or assassin, let's say Rengar, Fizz, Zed, Camille, somebody like that in the enemy team. So generally you need stasis to survive. But if like they have a team comp that somehow doesn't have assassins and divers, which does happen from time to time, like they have, like, let's say a tank fighter, marksman, enchanter support, and another fighter or something like that, you can actually go for something like a Proto Belt. Proto Belt is really good for Varus because he has no mobility. That gives him some extra mobility to either close the gap or to run away. And you can also Proto Belt out, which is pretty helpful for surprise engages, because most people don't expect Varus to have Proto Belt, and I still love taking Proto Belt on Varus if I can. Now next up, you go for the Serralda's Grudge. By this point in time, you'll be around level 12 or 13, so you will get a decent amount of armor penetration from the Grudge, and mostly for the slow. So your E's and your Q's are going to be slowing down the enemies, which normally allows your team to catch up, or if you yourself need to catch up to them, then you can catch up to them as well. But basically, it's a lot of good utility there with the slow. And then we move on to Edge of Night. So Edge of Night, as we all know, is a safety item that gives lethality as well. So it gives you a spell shield that allows you to block the next incoming spell damage. So something like a Blitzcrank Hook, could be an Orianna Ball, or could be like a Zed Shuriken. Whatever spell comes your way is going to block that first spell. So now this is of course a very good safety tool for Varus, who despite his long range normally still needs to get up at least to a certain distance from the fight, because you wouldn't be launching your max range Qs in the fight. You still need to walk up to ult, you still need to walk up to sometimes auto attack or something like that. So this is really useful to prevent yourself from getting caught. And I have had matches where this block like 1 or 2 Blitzcrank hooks, which would mean certain death for me. So it's really useful. And of course, as my last item, I go for the Guardian Angel, which of course will give me that revive, an extra safety tool Now, something to take note is that you can also build Dust Blade of Drakthar if you prefer over the Edge of Night or over the Yomu's Ghost Blade, but this is my personal preferred build. And when your GA is down, honestly, I feel like something like a Death's Dance for Varus really doesn't help him all that much, because if someone manages to get on top of him, pretty much if you don't have ult, you'll be dead 100% of the time anyway. So if my GA is down, I will actually swap it out and get like Dust Blade of Drakthar. So that is something to take note of. So anyways, runes and spells are shown, no need for the discussion, because as I said, you can refer to the complete guide where we did do an in-depth discussion. Anyways, with that out of the way, we can move on to the gameplay. Okay, so here we have the gameplay. So as usual, if you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you guys have any questions, put them down in the comments below, and I will, of course, be replying to those. So now, as you can see here, we are rocking the glorious trail that I recently picked up from the rank store. Looks pretty sick, if I do say so myself. So anyways, if you guys notice, as I'm walking to lane, I'm charging and cancelling my Q. Now what this does is, as you guys can see, I picked up a mana crystal at level 1 in the base, so I can already start charging my tier. And honestly, Varus charges it really slowly, so you could actually go for like a long sword start as well to at least get some form of combat statistics, but I just want to charge my tier faster, so that's why I go for that. Anyways, in the lane, as you can see, basically what you want to be doing throughout the laning phase is charging up your Q as much as you can and trying to hit either the ADC or support. Of course, ideally try to focus the ADC, but you can also go for the support, especially in this lane where it's a kind of, it's not a sustain lane basically. So if they had like a Nami, Soraka, Janna kind of lane, it would be a lot harder, because it's of course very hard to play poke against a sustain kind of lane. But here, what we actually have is kind of more like an all-in kind of lane, where if Lux gets a catch, Lucian and Lux can just go all in. So we sort of have a all-in lane here, which poke lane kind of counters an all-in lane in this scenario, because all you gotta do is stay at range and just poke them. As you can see, Lucian has already got poked to like nearly dead basically, so we forced the heal and he has to go for the fruit. Unfortunately, Nami gets a little bit over aggressive and Lux manages to pick up the kill on Nami, which sort of wasn't really part of the plan obviously, but we'll have to work with what we have here. So generally our game plan is just to keep on poking them and not get hit by the Lux Q. Pretty much if we get hit by Lux Q, that's the only time we're in trouble. And yeah, so honestly, Varus, despite having what I said to be a weak early game, he's actually not that bad in the laning phase. He's weak early game in the sense that if you get into like a close quarter fight with anybody, you're not going to be winning it unless you poke them out already, which is what you're supposed to be doing anyway. So here, as you guys can see, I auto-attack them when I can, and the rest of the time, all I'm doing is just poking. So Varus' entire game plan is just to poke people non-stop, basically, and not get into any kind of all-in fights. Of course, unless you can get the kill, something like that. And here, nice exhaust onto the Lucian, flashing forward to get the kill. So something like that, then we can get the kill. Lux steps a little bit too far, and if you can catch people with your ult, pretty much, in early game that's not really a guaranteed kill, but you can at least chunk them out very significantly such that they have to back or take the fruit, definitely. But in the later stages of the game, hitting an ult is a guaranteed kill. So that is something to take note of. And yeah, so pretty much Varus' game plan in laning phase is just to poke people non-stop. Like, I did say that he is very weak before he gets his mana immune, but really what I mean is that Varus doesn't really do a significant amount of damage until you get your either your Serrated Dirk or your evolved mana immune, aka the mirror mana, or both. So at this point in time, my poke is still really good, make no mistake, but that damage is not something you can ignore, definitely, but it's not something that you need to worry about. But when you start getting your items, sometimes your Q can do like a third of their health, like half of their health. Like as you can see here, I hit Lucian, he takes like a little bit of damage, but not a tremendous amount. Here we get another nice catch onto the Lucian, boom. Nami wave into Varus ultimate into my enhanced Q with my E, of course, and we also get a nice hit onto the Lux. As you can see, it does about a third of her health now. It will do only more later on. That one was because it was enhanced by the W, which is why I did a significantly more amount of damage. So yeah, so we are getting picks in lane, and honestly, the Lucian and the Lux are in trouble, because obviously if you're getting killed by a Varus and Nami in lane, Varus is definitely not the the strongest in the early game, and you're playing Lucian, a very strong all-in. Now, actually, Lucian against Varus matchup is actually not as bad as you might think it is for the Lucian, because if Varus, all you need to do is keep dodging the Varus poke, and if you get any all-in opportunity, pretty much the Varus is dead, because Lucian will just destroy Varus, and Lux as well, of course. But we've been playing the lane very well. We've not been getting into any kind of position where they can easily catch us out, and as a matter of fact, we have been catching them out. So this is what we are supposed to be doing. We're sticking to the game plan, and we picked up a couple of kills, which allows us to go for the Infernal Dragon. Now, Jace and the jungler, which is Graves, have turned up to the party, and Fizz actually jumps the wall, one-shots our jungler, the Lee Sin, and now we are in trouble because we have a Fizz in the pit, and he has actually managed to steal the dragon, but he is gonna trade his life for it. Here we're gonna get the Jace as well, but basically we got like we traded like 2 for 2 in terms of kills, as well as the drag, and as well as them getting the dragon. Of course, not counting the fact that we killed Lucian previously before the dragon fight. So overall, it is, I would say, not the best trade for us because we lost the dragon and we traded about equal number of kills. So that kind of is unfortunate. By the way, I haven't actually mentioned this yet, but in this match, pretty much it's just me, Nami, and Galio carrying the team. Now Lee Sin, you guys will probably see it sooner or later. Looks like he's playing Lee Sin like for like less than 10 games. Basically, he's not an experienced Lee Sin, and he's pretty inexperienced at the champion, to put it nicely. And the Diana isn't really too experienced as well, but thankfully she does hit some huge ultimates here and there, so she does bring value to the team, but sometimes she just straight up just whiffs her ultimate and sometimes makes very questionable decisions. But anyways, we're not here to talk about the Lee Sin or the Diana, we're here to talk about Varus and making a guide on him. Alright, so here I see that the enemy have rotated away, so I'm just going to be pushing the tower. Lux, I will say, is doing a very good job of ulting the minions to clear the wave, and she will be doing this quite consistently throughout the game. You guys will see later on, but she does do that pretty well. So here, I'm a little bit off getting the Yomu's Ghostblade, so I need to collect one more wave so I can actually pick up Yomu's Ghostblade. So here I'm just sticking around to, of course, try to pick up the wave. Of course, I don't want to get caught for being greedy and sticking around for minions, so I am going to just use the Q to pick up the minions. And of course, as you can see, I've completed my mana mune some time ago, so I'm trying my best to charge it up. In base, as you can see, I'm launching my Q, cancelling, launching my E and cancelling my Q. And I have got the Yomu's Ghostblade already. And on the way to lane, I'm cancelling my Q, as you can see, to of course charge up the mana mune as fast as possible. He charges it really slow, so yeah, here we go. So here Lee Sin comes in, despite Lucian not really being in a gankable position, comes in, auto-attacks the minion, and just walks around like a headless chicken. Yeah, he puts down the Rift Herald. So we are going to be trying to get this tower. Lucian gets caught by the same trick again. Lee Sin goes in for the KS. And here all we're trying to do is trying to get the Rift Herald to collapse onto the to whack into the tower, I guess you could say. So we kill the minion wave, and we have the Varus poke, so a little bit hard for them to try to do anything about the situation. So I'm just staying at range and poking. Nami and Lee Sin seem to want to go in. Nami gets caught by the Lux binding and gets basically one shot, and Lee Sin thankfully runs away. Now you will see that the biggest problem with this Lee Sin, I have to discuss him because he is a character on my team. So biggest problem with this Lee Sin is he wants to pick a fight at every available opportunity. So we will see this especially in the later stages of the game. I will point it out, but he really wants to just fight non-stop, and he's the jungler, so we need him for the smite. So that is very annoying when you get into later on in the game where you really need your jungler to smite. Alright, so anyways, we clear out the minion wave. We have already picked up the Yomu's Ghostblade. We're gonna back and we're gonna pick up, I believe, our boots and our Zhonya's maybe. Yep, there we go. We picked up the Zhonya's Hourglass. Obviously, Zhonya's Hourglass is essential against someone like a Fizz. No two ways about it. We're gonna need that Zhonya. So here we have actually evolved our mana mune into the mirror mana. So we have the mirror mana and the Yomu's Ghostblade. So one lethality item and the evolved mana mune. So we should be packing quite a punch by now. Right, so here the dragon has just come up. Obviously, we're gonna be all on top of it. And there are no enemy wards over here, but they have obviously spotted us. Thankfully, we secured the dragon before they can really do anything about it. A rogue shock blast by the Jace tries to steal the dragon, but doesn't really work out too well for him. And a huge fight comes in. We got the Varus ult into the Diana ult into the Nami ult, and the whole team just wombo combos, and their team is in trouble. The Fizz whiffs his ulti, and I get a double kill. Only Lux is remaining, and this allows us to get off a solid push in the mid lane. So really nice team fight there, where everybody pretty much played their part, and we just layered all the ultimates on top of each other, including the Galio ultimate, which I didn't really get to mention just because of how many ultimates were getting fired off right at the same time. So we obliterate the enemy team, and this is the start of the game. And here Lux manages to ult the minion wave again and clear out the entire minion wave. Galio nearly dies to the tower. Justice punches his way out. Nami ends up taking the aggro, and Nami dies. So that definitely was not part of the plan either. So yeah, so here we obviously have overstayed our welcome. I ult and I Zhonya's, but I'm in the middle of 4 people, so chances of survival not very high. I'm trying to hightail it out of there, but Jace has his to the skies to catch up to me, and I die on the tower. I gotta say that I thought I was dead way sooner, but I actually kind of nearly escaped there, surprisingly. But anyways, Lee Sin is back into the party. He's obviously looking for a fight, looking to kill somebody. And they get the referral. He hits a Q, goes in on the Q 1v3. Nami saves his life, and he flashes on the wall. Nami picks up the kill on the Fizz. But you guys can see what I mean by the Lee Sin just trying to go in at every available opportunity. Obviously, we got a strong case of Lee syndrome on the team. Anyways, Galio turns up to the party, picks up a shutdown onto the Lux. And Galio, of course, doing pretty alright, 5-3 and 3. The Galio will be doing a lot of work later on in the game. So basically, it's, as I said, me, Nami, and Galio just trying our best to win the game for our team. So here, Varus, another strength of Varus obviously is his strong wave clear. He can strike through all the minions and everything. So here, we only have one tier 1 tower left in the enemy team. We can see 2 of them in mid and like one of them in top. So it's a pretty good time to push the tower. As you can see, Lucian is in top. We just saw Graves and Fizz in the mid lane. So at worst, it'll be a 3v2. So that's why we are, of course, going for the push. Now here, I try to kill the minions, and Lux manages to ult all the minions away again. So really irritating by the Lux. So here I'm just trying to get some poke in. Nami goes up a little bit far, and I get slowed by the Jace, and Fizz comes in with his ultimate. I try to ult them to stop them, but I find myself up against a Lux. So pretty much the whole enemy team collapses. I'm gonna die, so I try to trade onto the Fizz. Unfortunately, Fizz becomes untargetable, and I don't manage to find the trade, and I die as well. So for me, I was doing really well. I was like 6-0, and then I kind of messed up there and gave away 2 kills. Happens to the best of us, but that's of course not what we want to see. Here, Galio goes in onto the Graves, 1v1s the Graves, and gets a solo kill. Now here, Lee Sin trying to hold the tower by himself. Finds the Q. Obviously, he's gonna take the Q and dies 1v4. So that's sort of the plays that Lee Sin makes throughout the game. Yeah, just I don't think that really needs too much explaining. You guys can see what's happening for yourselves. And here we're seeing if we can really do anything about this. See if we can find any picks. The answer is not really. I eat a shock blast, which does about 1/3 of my health as well. Pretty high damage shock blast there. Mountain Dragon has spawned, but obviously Lee Sin is still dead in the water, so we can't really do anything about that. Diana whiffs a ultimate right there, hitting absolutely nobody. Jace comes in, Nami bubbles him into my ultimate, and he survives with a little bit of HP. Unfortunately, not enough burst. Like no one other than me followed up on that. The Graves dashes right into our entire team, and he dies. So now we have a significant advantage on the Mountain Dragon, because now they don't have a jungler, and now our Lee Sin is back up. But anyways, Lee Sin, of course, is trying to dash into the entire enemy team and trying to get himself killed again instead of going for the Mountain Dragon. So here, we finally managed to pull the Lee Sin over to the Mountain Dragon, and here, obviously, we're going to be doing the Mountain Dragon. Jace can be spotted over the wall, clearing out vision. Nice ult by Nami onto 3. I ult onto the Jace and get the pick on him. Lucian dies as well. Galio gets a double kill. And Galio's getting chased by the Fizz. So here I'm trying to back up the Galio, but I can't make it there in time. Lee Sin goes in, kicks away the Fizz so that I can't actually damage the Fizz. Fizz goes in and Lee Sin has to flash away. Really dumb plays by the Lee Sin. Back to back to back to back to back. I really no idea what this Lee Sin is doing. So anyways, here trying to hit a Q, probably will go into the graves under the tower if he actually hit that Q, but thankfully he doesn't. And here we're just gonna reset. We have already destroyed this Grudge. We're gonna build towards the Edge of Night, of course picking up the Serrated Dirk as the more important component, and as well as a Ruby Crystal for the health. Now here, I already have a red buff, but it is gonna expire sooner or later. And really, honestly, no one on this team can really make use of red buff aside from me and the Lee Sin. And here he was on 1 HP by the way. Here we save his life. So here he's trying to pick up the red buff and I'm having none of it. I want that red buff and I can outburst his smite with my 3 auto attacks and my Q. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. But he looks like he was giving it to me anyway, so at least he's making a good decision for once in this game. But yeah, so Lee Sin, obviously we know he's bad. We are not gonna give him the red buff. Like Lee Sin is just gonna go in with the red buff, die, and give it over to the enemy team anyway. So what's the point of letting Lee Sin take his own red buff? Here we're gonna of course secure the mid lane priority, secure the Skull of Vision, and I'm gonna back because most likely I can complete the Edge of Night at this point. There we go, Edge of Night completed, Spell Shield active. And yeah, so we're doing really well at this point. And I actually did have a lot of good Varus gameplay. It's just that Edge of Night is your second last item. And like a lot of times the game ends before I even reach the second last item. Which is why I have been taking so long to come up with this Varus gameplay. Or supplementary guy, I should say. So here I'm hitting bot just to clear out the wave. My entire team is at top. And I'm going to just make my way over. Of course, having an active ward on the Baron is always a good idea, just in case the enemy team tries something sneaky. Right, so Graves kind of getting himself caught as well. Graves is a little bit overextended as well, much like the Lee Sin. Right, so nothing too much is happening here. Pretty much the only neutral objective up at the moment is Baron, and neither team can really start it just straight up like that without winning a fight, because both of our teams are pretty even in goal. And there's only a 1 dragon difference between the two of us, and we do have the Infernal Dragon, which is getting to pretty late game, so it is putting in a lot more work. So now, Elder Dragon will be spawning in about a minute plus, so pretty much the teams are just trying to wait for Elder Dragon. Here, as you can see, Lee Sin for some reason is all the way past the enemy's tier 1 tower, trying to find a fight again, randomly kicks the Jace, and tries to follow up on it and actually manages to force the Jace flash, so at least we got something out of it, but I have no idea what this Lee Sin is doing. So Lee Sin finds the Jace again. Yeah, so pretty much I'm just spamming the Lee Sin to retreat. Lee Sin in the enemy jungle again, in the enemy backline, goes in on the Graves, and I'm still pinging him to retreat because we need him alive in order to get the Elder Cloud Dragon. So Lee Sin goes into the enemy jungle, onto the enemy red buff. I'm spam pinging him to retreat, but what does he do? He gets into a 1v1 versus the Graves. The enemy team comes to back up the Graves. He blast plants over and somehow actually gets out with full health. But you guys can see the writing on the wall. Lee Sin is going to get himself killed sooner or later. Now here the Elder Dragon is spawning. I'm trying to get some poke in on the Jace. Jace comes in and I'm starting to auto attack him, charging up my passive, and there goes the Jace. We find a pretty nice pick. Nice ult by Diana. We find a catch onto the jungler, but jungler Zanya's with 1 HP. Now he dies. I'm left on 1 HP, and we got 2 of the enemy team so far. And we don't have to chase for the rest of them. We can just go for the Elder Dragon. Lux ult straight down, trying to get a pick on me, of course, but I already managed to pick the fruit and get out of dodge. So here, just trying to secure some kind of mid lane push. So here we're going for the Elder Dragon, of course, and no enemy vision inside in the pit. Fizz comes in trying the same trick he did. That time a Galio is ready and he is going to zone the Fizz away. Great move by the Galio, and here we secure the Elder Dragon. Now, obviously there is a minion wave here and we're going to secure it. We don't go straight to Baron because the whole enemy team is respawning, including the jungler. Garen actually finds a pick, which is really good. So we're also gonna push down mid lane as well. Clear out top lane, push down mid lane. If possible, push down bot lane, but doesn't seem like anybody's really too interested in that. But at this point in time, my team is really strong. Of course, we have the Elder Dragon and 2 other dragons to boot. So we will be doing a lot of damage with the aspect of the dragon buff. Here I'm just going to pick up the red buff. And we're going to try to set up for Baron. Because it's really hard to end the game without the Baron. Because both of our teams are honestly pretty equal at this point. So we kind of need the Baron in order to try to end the game against the enemy team. So here I'm just going to go to mid lane, just get the mid lane priority. Lee Sin gets into another fight against the Graves, goes in on the Graves. Lucian comes up, and if he wasn't playing someone that's so mobile, he would have been dead like 10 times more than he already is. So here, Fizz is way overextended. The whole team is gonna collapse on the Fizz. Fizz is a slippery character, but he cannot possibly fend off like 3 people. He goes untargetable. He Zanyas. He goes untargetable again, and there he goes. So here we got a nice pick on the Fizz. I'm pinging for Baron. We can see Lucian on the other side of the map. I believe we just spotted Graves on the other side of the map as well, if I'm not mistaken. So, really free Baron for us, in my opinion. So here I'm just warding, checking if anybody's coming. Lux is on the way. Jace is on the way as well. Diana gets a nice ult. I get a nice ult. And Lee Sin thankfully stays on the Baron and doesn't just turn for the fight. We secure the Baron. And at this point in time, the game is pretty much over. We just got 3 picks, 4 picks, 5 picks, and an ace. Yeah, so game is pretty much over at this point. And yeah, we're just gonna march down mid and end the game. So guys can see the power of Varus. His huge teamfight ultimate and his huge poke potential are his main strengths. So anyways, as usual, I'll be leaving you guys with the stats. So thank you so much for watching the video, guys, and goodbye.